I am Eon. It is Sunday, September 14th as I record. It's time to look at SciFi 3D printing review number 1. Let's start with Second Dynasty. Second Dynasty this month has an APC. There's also the Centaur turrets and roof panels, along with a floor tread plate as well for their Gridforge system, I believe. 3D Art Guy is doing SciFi this month. One of those guys at least looks familiar. Here we have kind of a generic mechanic, comes in a few different sculpts to work on the power armor. The power armor comes in several different designs from the game, depending on what faction you'd like to depict it from. Of course, this power armor is coming from Fallout. Here we have a nuclear war machine, as well as a treacherous commander. He, of course, also comes with a crown as well. Good old Starscream. For the 1 Year Plus reward, we have the Aloha OE. Apparently this is from Space Dandy. Very interesting model. For their Tribes faction, they have the Giant Shark Warrior. Across the Realms has female Earth Defense operatives this month. About 5 or so models with different weapon options and different various sculpts that are available. Aether Studios has some racetrack that you can print out this month, as well as some Obsidian Empire-like space station with pylons. Or I suppose it's a space station, and There's also a Metro and a Space Girdle Command, the dial home device. The Peaceful Pump House could possibly be for more modern games, and the Clan Arkheart tank, I'm not sure, but it definitely has a steampunk vibe to it. Bioship, and the Pharos of Yabon, not sure, and Order of the Soulborn and Ice Dungeon. I just thought all this stuff could possibly be used, depending. Aftermath Studios has La Sombra, Riot, and Bull, and there is the Pusher on the right. Here's the Pitcher and the Garador. Anvil Digital Forge has Armored Trench Raiders, and a Cyberpunk loyalty reward for those that have been with the tribe for a while. Or, I'm not sure how they do it. Different people do their loyalty rewards differently. And here's the Cyberpunk loyalty rewards and ideas of what you can do with them. Arcane Whiskers has a $1 tier, as well as other tiers as well. I believe the $1 tier gets the Olympus Mons Outskirts. Here's Sirkana the Fierce, Hex Blood Scourge of Vega 3, Junkyard Pack Mech Hand, Junk Pile, and Junk Heap. A Broken Arch and a piece of a Shiphole's frame. A Scrapped Droid. Archvillain Games for SciFi is doing Saurian's Temple Guard. Here's a Scale Beast. Maybe not to scale. Here's a Tyrant Glory Seeker and a Veil Hunter Headsman. Warmonger Hero. These are Screechers. They come with various different loadouts. These are Skyfire Screechers with the bombs. Ultra Tyrant. Various two-handed weapons. Scale-clad Veil Hunter has a weapon and has a pistol and a shield. Scale-clad Warmonger has a shield and a sword. And a different type of backpack as well, or with two-handed weapons. These are Scalehounds. There are about 5 of those as well. Atlan Forge has put out the Thunderclaw gunship. It has various weapon loadouts, as well as a preview of the Vampire Hunters, which was not out by the time I was putting this together. Bad Tusk Miniatures has a preview here for September models, and they're kind of working on exactly what's going on. They will not be building in October. Battle Cat Miniatures has Ancient Warfare. For Horse and Musket, you have the Peninsular War Spanish Generals, Spanish High Command, and Spanish Officers. The Aide de Camp and Brigadier, El Marquis de la Romana, Pedro Caro y Serreta, Field Marshal. I feel like I'm butchering their names, so I'm just going to stop. Lieutenant General, Major General, Mayor or Major. For World War II, you have a French 25mm Hotchkiss AT gun. Here's a French 47mm APX AT gun, French Lafley W15 TCC Tank Hunter. For Grim Wars, there's the Great Trench Wars. There's a few models. And for the Galactic Wars, there's these. Beyond Space, I believe these are the September releases. I'm not 100% certain on these, but here's Cedric the Judge, Imperator Valerius, Saint Marathas, with helmet or not, and Nares the Third Hand. Bite the Bullet is doing sci-fi this month with Ashen Armies. Here's another view of everything. For the throwback pack, you get these 4 large creatures as well. We have Lieutenant on the left and Yeoman on the right. We have Shock Troopers and Combat Dogs, Combat Engineer and Observer, Heavy Mechanized Infantry, either with a heavy shotgun or a flamethrower, Trench Cleric and a Sniper Priest, and a Combat Medic. Lots of head options here. Claudio Casini Art usually has at least one Sci miniature, and this month it's a Bounty Hunter Cyberpunk. Creature Crusade has Ismail Al-Aziz, the Iron Blade. He comes with a few different weapon options. Cyberforge has Grim Realms and Titan City Stories, and usually some terrain. For their Grim Realms, they have Legion of Slaughter. Here's a Lord on Goresteed, Slaughterbound, Slaughter Maw. Again, different weapon options and head options. For their Titan City Stories, here's the Erno Blood, or is that supposed to be Iron Blood? Demir Captain, Demir Janissaries, and a Combat Shrine. The Combat Shrine has several different weapon options, and there's lots of ornaments that can go for your on your models as well. They usually give you a couple of civilians and some terrain. And of course, what's a month without some bases? Dakka Dakka is still putting out a lot of their release, I think. So September release, here is the whole list of the models. And here's a view. Artheus, the Queen's Smiting Hand, Mel Ashkelon and Rabo, Nazca, the Lone Squalor, I believe that's the Titan model, Quaint 7 Prometheus, and the Aerobellium Pursuer. Dark Fleet's Rising has Terran Legion Defense Station, examples A, B, and C. Dark Realms is doing some models this month, in addition to their terrain. Castra Ultima, Ultimari Wardens. Dragon Trapper's Lodge is usually a fantasy release, but these could easily be sci-fi. So let's look at the Riders of the Hellstorm. We see a Wargrind, the Hell Engine, a Tormentor, Paste Maker, Torquejaw the Road Reaper, Burn Bite, Jackie the Wasteland Warrior, Caster Slasher with Lightning, the Plague Proctor, Caster Slasher, Buela, Probationary Warden, Flayer Cycles, Hell Nashers, Reaper Demons, Demon Dogs, Scrap Cycles with Riders, Wormbait 3, Wasteland Buggies, the Rocking Roller, Unicorn Meat Pie Bassist, Drummer, Singer, and Guitarist. I guess that's the name of their group. Wasteland Brutes, and Goblin Scrappers. I think these could be fantasy or sci-fi, depending on what you want them to be. Similarly, we have Dworshka Warsmiths Part 2. Here we have Umbrathane, the Storm Lord. Crawler Tank with a cannon or a railgun. Here we have the Engineer, and he comes in lots of different versions. Here's an Engineer with an Ironjaw Bear. Again, different weapon options, or just different riders. These are Storm Catchers with rifles or arc throwers. I have to say, I love the Tesla coil looking backpacks these guys are wearing. These are Tank Mechs with a hammer or hatchet option, with a mace or a sledgehammer option. Again, I think you could use these wherever you want to. Dungeons and Dreadnoughts has Rise of the Necrospawn this month, which are some pretty cool looking models in my opinion. Here we see the Necrospawn, the Void's Chosen. These are, I believe, mechs, the Sepulchral Scourge and the Mournwalker Polemarch. And these are more of the Necro Guard. And here we see the Ravened Brood as a chibi. And I believe these are the Ravened Brood. And I don't think that's everything from that first image, but it was all that we had. Edge Miniatures is continuing with their both 28mm line and 8mm line. Here we see the 28mm Tech Pirates Void Raiders Kill Team. Here the Skyborn Empire has an Oracle and some weapon options for the Void Raiders Kill Team. Here's another version of the Oracle and a Recon Captain, and some Warlords for the Skyborn Empire. For their 8mm range, the Skyborn have some Warlords and Oracles and the Recon Captain, so 8mm version of those models, as well as the Ranged Warriors. They come 5 to a base at 8mm. The Tech Pirates have the Black Dragon Squadrons. They come 5 to a base at 8mm. And here they come in the 28mm Void Raiders Kill Team. I think he did an update to some of the models and re-released some of them with additional weapon options. Forbidden Prince has Smoke and Steel. If you're looking to you need some grim, dark, ruined terrain, this is a great month to back Forbidden Prince and really up your library. It reminds me of when a certain big company put out a bunch of terrain that was a big deal back in the day. I think it was around 3rd edition. In addition, they also have these models as well. I guess these are like turbines or generators, some sort of motors with smokestacks. Gamescape 3D is got these craters again this month, and they put little sci-fi models with them because, to be honest, this could be used on a sci-fi world pretty easily. Gaz Minis has given us a small preview of what's coming up this month, and it's kind of all over the place. We'll come back and look at this and more. Ghamak has pretty much given us the sci-fi look for September. Some big models here. Here we see the Angelic Titan, Repaired War Droid, and Razors. These are Broken Talons and a Torturer. These are Tortured Prisoners. Yeah, they look pretty miserable. And a Hellstorm from the Corrupted Guard. Goonmaster Games, while the models so much not really sci-fi, these junkyard bases I think could really nice if you're looking for something similar to that. In addition, Goonmaster does very good at giving you basing options that you can help customize things with, and this junkyard stuff is all over. They also released some flamingos if you have any interest. KMFP Designs. This is a month of everything they will be doing in September. Here is the Metal Marauders Mega Flash Gunners. These are the Striges Flying Cyborgs for the Hekatos Cyborgs. And the Void Swarm has the Aerial Hunter Constructs. Kyoushuneko Miniatures has not put out any models yet that I've seen, but they have given us an inspiration board to look at. Loot Studios, it's just before the middle of the month, so they have not put out the release just yet. Here we can do City of Traders, Vincent the Masked End, Dorothy the Shadow Bronze, a phone booth. Wonder what it's like on the inside. And a Protectorate Scyther. And the Protectorate Tank I thought was just a very interesting looking model. I believe this is new to my videos as Lost Heresy Miniatures. Here is pretty much the release of some sci-fi zombies. The Maker's Cult, September 2025, Part 1. They have put out this release here. The tanks, the walkers, trying to keep a mental. This kit is arms and weapons only. So they're showing you the different options here. Here's Mosin Nagant, M1917 Browning. It's a big barrel. MP18, a Thompson, a Webley revolver. But what's most fascinating about this month to me is the fact that Maker's Cult is now coming to tribes. So you can join their tribe for this month. And I'm not sure if it's the same. I think it's a little bit different for Patreon versus tribes. But for My Mini Factory, you get 7 kits for $12.50 as part of their launch pack here. So definitely, I may or may not have joined. Why don't you join me? Mantic Vault is pretty exciting this month because I see the Veerman there. Let's take a look. We have for Firefight the Overcharger Shotgun Platform. We have the Veerman Tunnel Runner. You can print all of them that you want now. Volt Chaser Thralls or Ratkin Slaves. And the Vault Chasers multi-part kit. For Dead Zone, there's the Piper. We'll take a look at the fantasy releases over in the fantasy video. Marchen Atelier has gone to the Nikoban Empire. Here is Yokozunion Nikoban Hero Miniature. The Hatameku Garu Nikoban units. As well as the Mikoshi Cannon. They also have a 6-month reward coming up with the Drunken Reverie for those that have been with them since they started earlier this year. Modern Miniatures was doing SWAT Team this month, and I believe that's still the same thing. Here's another look at those models. But there's also some terrain that comes out this month too. like this. And if you look at it and wonder what exactly is it, it's basically an airport hangar. So the theme this month is not just SWAT team, it's airport smugglers. And so here we can see some things that they might be smuggling. Some packages of, is that flour? And, some other items as well. What would an airport be without a plane? And here's just a better look at some of the smuggled objects. On tribes, they have the M1088 truck and M871A3 trailer. Mr. Modulork is doing Robo-Orc this month, so without any further ado, he gave us Robo-Orc. Comes with a helmeted version, I guess a jumping version, as well as an aiming version and one without the helmet. For the free tier, you have this guy. And part release 2 was Tourney Terrain. There's a few different options within this terrain. Nate Feyma has put out previews of this tank. One Page Rules is continuing with their version of orcs, the Orc Marauders. For the the war fleets, we have the Empire war fleet. We have Beast. Here's a look at all of the orcs you will be getting in September. Here we have some Beast Riders. I believe these are Berserker Leaders. Berserker Leader and Berserker Leader on Combat Beast. Also the Berserker Leader on the Combat Beast, and on the Great Combat Beast. Apparently a Great Combat Beast has a horn coming out of its head. Berserker Leader on the Great Combat Beast, and some Berserkers. These are also Berserkers as well. The one with the saw should probably be like a doctor, right? These are Beast Riders. And they just put out the Combat Beast. As well, you get some bases and some objectives, ruler, and dice. Oshouna Minis has put out the September release. I'm not sure what to call any of these. Papsikels has Aliens vs. Humans Madlands. So first off, I'm pretty excited about the Dark Templars. Here we see a Blood Hunter and an Avenger. Here we have Scientist Kirsch. Synthetic Wendy. These are Prodigy Corps search and rescue teams. I mean, nice models, especially if you need like a futuristic type deal. Here's Private Christina Zoller, Private K. Peralta, Private Orlena Deguski. I like how the weapons back there ready to go. And then again, I'm pretty excited about the Powered Armored Suit Marine. In my opinion, very obviously Terran inspired from StarCraft. Synthetic Skull Hunter Companion. And a Skull Hunter deck, Young Outcast. He comes in several different sculpts and modes along with his partner or companion. For their Cyberpunk release, definitely a lot of inspiration from recent media. Here we have a Droid Combat Medic Unit, Search and Rescue Unit. Here we have Cyber Lady Death Rhea. I'm not sure what she's from, but Idol Demon Hunter Rumi is from the recent Netflix movie K-Pop Demon Hunters. Rumi is one of the three young ladies, along with, I believe their names are actually Mira and maybe Zoe too. I haven't watched enough of it yet to know. Definitely an interesting take on some concepts, but a lot of inspiration here. And then there's the Demon Idol, Abby, Baby, Genu, Mystery, and Romantic. And I don't know, those are probably just generic terms for those. And then, again, I'm pretty excited to see Techno Vipers and Zartan, Master of Disguise himself. So there are at least 5 Techno Vipers that you get with this. Pretty cool stuff here. I am, well, no, 6. Maybe they don't have number 5. Yeah. In addition, Papsikels will do releases throughout the month, such as the Quipo War Prophet, the Xeno Scorpo Crab, the Heretic Priest of Brutality, Piper Makes has put out a couple of posts about September, so I may have some of this wrong. Aerial Class Void Frame, some renders of what you can do, and then the Fishmech Reruns Gobi Kits. Print Minis has put out for September, and they do release models roughly every week, so they update constantly. Some Chem Labs for the Bitter Nightshades. These are some various machines, such as a centrifuge, some hissing chem pumps, distillery machines, drug tables, a bubbling vat, I think a bioreactor is what you would call that in real life. And then here's the Voros Sin miniature expansion. In addition, there's Psychic Lackeys and a Rumor Dealer, Poison Mother for Bitter Nightshades, and a Rat Huntress with a giant rat. Giant 2-headed rat, we can add. Chimney, Riser Column Topper, and a Widowmakers. There's also some riser tiles that are designed to be printed on FDM, some conduit pipes to go up top, as well as some platforms, some pipe connectors, and some printable floors that can be printed on resin. Printerra Studios has given us the Hieroglyph Carver, the Zooarchid Plant, Fallen Altar, Bug Warrior, Dreadwolf Contemptress, I feel like I'm missaying that one, Old Exocannon, Norse Box Coffin Walker, some Fallen Bases, some Brain Bases over on the right, and some Wolfen Terminatress. Project Mobius has got basically a shuttle bay or hangar, along with a small vehicle to go in there too. Proxybrewer has Omniguard Infantry Builder. PS Miniatures has the Dark Space Elf Witches, 4 different sculpts. Red Pilgrim Miniatures has put out release 1 Miasmic Cohort Heralds. These are some chunky guys with quite the imagery. That green sickly light adds something to the mystique here. RedMakers and Adeptus Miniatures has put out part 1 of September. Here we have the Winterline Forces Imperial Guard, 20 units. Battle Leader Imperial Guard. Maybe if you don't want him to have that power fist, you can replace it with some sort of sword. And Kill Squad Tomb World. I get a lot of General's Grievous vibes from that guy. Rizzenvoth has shown us this release for September. Tech Mage and Engine Priest. RPG Figures has ID-10 Searcher Drone. Sir Nicholas Miniatures has shown mass-produced War Dragon. And from this artwork inspiration, the Red Banner Bayara Guard. Skullforge Studios gave us this preview of what to expect this month, and in typical Skullforge, they deliver. Here we have Lost Hybrids Team and Firmament Hull Breach Operators. And here's Cloud Strider, Ryzen Rebel Wizard. Soulforge Studios, Terran Intrasystem Small Craft and Transports, and a Patroller. They've also shown a work in progress of what else is in store, and I like this model a lot. Maybe it's just because it looks like a train engine, but it looks really cool. Station Forge has put out the Corrupted Guard Destructor, the Free Guard Fallen, which come in many different versions of themselves. Here we have one guy who refuses to give up while he's being worked on. Another that has seen better days. Here's another one that's on fire, and there's does that count for a full mini or just half one? Here's Tarian Sky Guards. Traders Galaxy put out the preview that we're looking at from August, and we're still continuing. Here's Steel and Retro for their bot war. Beat 'em Up for their 28mm line. And then Retro Robot RR43. Tixarly Factory has put out this battle builder set of, well, pipes, conduit, ducts, ductwork, etc. Ugly Mini has put out the set here for September. I forget what they called it offhand. Here we have a battle tank, some boomers, Great Hunter, Hunters, Infected, Leech Swarms, Runners. Unit 9 is doing for September, I forget the title offhand, some sort of the Nomads Tribe. Here we see Bark Brigade, several different sculpts and even movement options. Here we see a Jabal, Kamzan Strider. Here's Captain Samira Haddad, Dahlia Al-Basri, Soccer Guard, some heavy weapon options, and a gas or chemical container. Vermilion Miniatures has Overhumans this month. Soviet geneticists have achieved an unprecedented breakthrough, mastering the art of editing the human genome, a triumph of science and the motherland. War Games Atlantic is actually finishing up a lot of their August release, so I don't think there's very much for me to pull in for September just yet. But these are some of the early previews that they put out. They did just put out this World Ablaze. I believe this might be the French mortar team. And this set from the Death Fields. Not exactly sure. I didn't write down. I didn't try to figure out what these were called just yet. But new to my videos is War Games Crew. These are compatible with Trench Crusade. And I was so close to the end that I forgot to write down what they called these models. Some of these were engineers, something about engineers. Wargame Exclusive has put out quite a few models already. Chaos Prime, the Night Hunter. Lightshade Howling Blades Mage Exarch as a pinup version. I think we had a different version of her last month. Here's an Orc Grot Scrapaludas. I just love the surprised expression of the goblin you can see on the right there. Imperial Core Commissar, Fog Maintenance. He's wiping out his eyewear. These are Necro Cyborg Immortus. Pretty hefty weapons. I do like heavy weapon guys. And a Chaos Spawn Cornclaw. War Machine for September. There's kind of a glance of more or less everything you're getting. We have Extreme Olesia Razenkova, Mistress of Thorns. Iconoclast Drudge, that comes in C, B, and A versions. Exilon Thexus, and a Dominator. These are Dominated Stormblades. And some old Umbre objectives. You know, to have things to capture in the game. Here's the old Umbre defenses and the Kithgard terrain pack. Wild Mesh usually does kind of fantasy or sci-fi. We have multi-part Flying Beast and Swordsman. So we'll look at the multi-part Flying Beast. It comes with 3 different head options. For the rider part of it, there are 6 options there. And here are the Kit Bash friendly swordsmen, as well as some other models too. And well, folks, that is our first look at SciFi for the month of September 2025. I appreciate your patience and watching, and I will see you soon.